Question 3 from from Dave Redicop. Hey, Dave! Nerds on Site. Remember him? From London, Ontario, Canada. Steve, your podcast has been instrumental in helping our thinking around what security should be. We're always grateful, and every week we look forward to your podcast. You may be aware of the Reset the Net campaign, which has been about adopting more secure methods, protocols, and apps for our collective benefit, especially those of us who wish to preserve our remaining civil liberties. In our business, we are constant. Nerds on Site is a support business. They're kind of a system for independent support professionals and IT professionals.
Very tech savvy.
Yeah. In our business, we're constantly coming across new victims of cybercrime. And in thinking about it one day, we realized that if we, the industry really, simply followed your advice of HTTPS only everywhere, we would have stopped every single financial cybercrime we've ever been called in for on a post-mortem. Unfortunately, we were never able to share much event detail with the public. Suffice to say, if secure HTTP had been the only allowed protocol, not a single one of the crimes would have been possible. So why not simply block all non-secure HTTP traffic, attempt to automatically redirect it to HTTPS to minimize inconvenience? I'm asking rhetorically, of course. Thanks to you and Leo for all your efforts each week to put together a world-class podcast. Thank you, Dave.
This was a great question, and I see it in various forms in the Security Now email all the time. So, as I said, this is sort of my process of sorting through things and finding things that everyone is curious about, or at least more than one person. Certainly, it's the case that more and more sites are supporting HTTPS. But unfortunately, even now, it is really the case that the majority of sites still don't. It's not free. You need to have a security certificate on your server. It's a little tricky when you're in a multiple domain hosting environment, because now clients support something called DNI, a domain name indication, where they're able in the original connection to specify in the initial HTTPS handshake, they can specify the domain name there that they're wishing to connect to. That's important. Otherwise, every single domain name has to have its own IP, which isn't available in a shared hosting environment where there's generally some IP constraint. So, I mean, there are still too many barriers to HTTPS. It's getting better all the time. And, one of the things that is nice is when using HTTPS everywhere, you sort of opportunistically try to connect with HTTPS, and if it fails, you back down. Many sites do support HTTPS, but the URLs you click on, for example, in Google, are not HTTPS. They're just HTTP. So you could be having a secure conversation. They've got the certificate. They've made all the services available, but normally they only switch you into that mode when you're going to log in or do something that is security critical, rather than just staying there all the time. So this is a perfect example of slow evolution in our understanding of the importance of security on the internet. I know we'll get there someday. I mean, there will always be sites that are HTTP only, but I think that'll end up at some point being the exception rather than the rule.
Well, I can't believe that a bank or financial institution wouldn't be, but